Hello everyone! So this is my review of Deadpool and Wolverine, and we're going to start out with a non-spoiler segment, and then like a spoiler alert portion, and that's going to be most of the video, so I'll let you know when we get to that. I'll be in about a minute. But Deadpool and Wolverine, it's an awesome movie. If you haven't seen it, go see it. My biggest fear was that it would be fan service the movie, and that's not really the case. There are some moments where that is a thing, and one example I can say without spoiling anything is Wolverine pulls down his mask and Deadpool, in my mind, overreacts to it. And that's kind of leads me into another thing I wanted to mention here is Wolverine with his mask. Like, I watched it and thought, this looks awesome! And then I talked with one of my friends about it afterwards, and he was like, I feel like they could have done better. And I was thinking, like, that is as good as a Wolverine mask can possibly be in live action. Like, I don't think it really could be better. You're saying, like, oh, the eyes, I don't know about it. Like, for me, it fully worked. Yeah, I said I think that it looked as good as it could in live action, but I think it works a little bit better in comics and in cartoons. And then my friend had remarked that in comics and cartoons it's just two Batmen that are kissing because of that meme that got really popular. So, interestingly enough, we had that as a conversation after watching the movie, and then this became a debate online that I've just now noticed, and people are saying, like, oh, does Wolverine with white eyes make it so that Batman in the future could have white eyes? And then people going, oh, Batman can never have white eyes after seeing Wolverine. But then there's also people going, oh, Batman can definitely have white eyes. And my take on it is Batman could definitely have white eyes. I think it would work very well. I kind of do want to see that. I want to see someone attempt that. Absolutely. And I just want to talk about this movie and say, like, overall, it was a great movie, and the intro to it is incredible. Just, I wasn't gonna, like, give a ranking of, like, the movies in general and say, like, oh, the first Deadpool movie has to be at the top, this movie would be second, and Deadpool 2 would be third. But if I'm just ranking intros alone, I'm giving this intro first place, the first movie second place, and the second movie last place. The intro's incredible. If you somehow haven't seen it, it's incredible. Okay, now time for the spoiler segment. That is your final warning. We're getting right into the plot details of it, and then cameo stuff. So, alright, plot details. Deadpool dreams of Thor, and I really like that as a detail because technically Multiverse of Madness established that dreams are people just seeing into the multiverse. So technically Deadpool is seeing into the reality of Thor crying in front of him. So that's a really cool detail in theory, but also I think that's just unintentional. It probably is unintentional. Really cool if that was a deep, intentional reference to Multiverse of Madness. But I'm gonna assume it's not. I don't think it is. But it'd be cool if it were. Okay. Yeah, this one's a plot hole. Is the rest of this plot holes? Yes, I have a script. Yeah. No, the rest of this is plot holes now. Okay. So, how is it that every Deadpool has a Peter, but not every Deadpool has a healing factor? I feel like having a healing factor is more essential to being a Deadpool than having a Peter. That was a very minor, I almost said minor spoiler, or that was a very minor plot hole. I really don't care about it, but still I ended up having that as a thought. X-23 doesn't make any sense lore-wise. I don't care about this, though, because I liked seeing her in the movie so much because she was just awesome. And then there was like so many good moments with her character. But lore-wise, it doesn't make sense. Her reality does not interfere with the sacred timeline because, well, it's the same reality that Deadpool is in. And the TVA didn't interfere with both of them at the same time, or intervene with them at the same time. So, we go with her reality, didn't do anything crazy with it. And she probably did not time travel in any way whatsoever, so I'm gonna go with, like, there's no reason for X-23 to end up in the void. And I thought of, like, my own version of this that I feel would have been better. I think it would have been a lot better if X-23 was actually recruited by the TVA at first, because they know how awesome she is. And she would have just gotten mad, tried to kill them, and then they send her to the void. And then just have Deadpool as their backup plan. Which then, as soon as Deadpool finds out he's the backup plan, could easily become a comedic moment. So, that's what I would have done with that, because the lore doesn't make sense, and they could have made a version of it that was, you know, more logical and could also be funny, but we got her in the movie, I don't care. It was still good to see her in it. Now, the very ending of the movie. If I were to ask you, which movie is the one Marvel movie where unlikely heroes team up and ultimately defeat an enemy by holding hands to distribute the energy of a powerful energy source, which movie would I be referring to? Because I'm referring to both Guardians 1 and Deadpool and Wolverine. It just copy-pasted Guardians 1 for the ending. And you know, like, I was watching it expecting there to be some sort of reference. Like, I'm completely fine in that moment of the copy-paste ending if they were to, like, call back to it. There could have easily have been, like, they're holding the hands, stuff's about to go crazy with the, like, explosion stuff, but, like, it's not quite there. The energy is, like, intensifying, and then Deadpool just goes, "It's just like that one time in Guardians 1! Or Guardians of the Galaxy!" And then Wolverine just goes, "What?" Or "Shut up!" Or something. And then, like, Deadpool's like, "Don't worry about it! This is gonna be awesome!" Or something. I don't know, I don't care. But I feel like that could have been ran into it so easily. That's it for my plot critiques, my nitpicks. Now time for my cameo nitpicks and thoughts. One of them, I don't know if anyone watching the movie in this video, comment below. I don't know if you saw this or not, but there is a moment where, like, Deadpool and Wolverine are fighting all the different Deadpools, and they go through this bus fighting a bunch of them. On the bus, there's just an image of Stan Lee on the side of it. And I don't know if anyone saw that or not. Mentally, I was, like, so excited when I saw that. I was like, it's Stan Lee! And I looked around and, like, no one noticed. None of my friends noticed. I asked them after the movie, like, did anyone see Stan Lee on the bus? And they're like, what? He was on the bus? And like, yeah, there was a picture of him on the bus. And the entire theater I was in, like, when you would see Stan Lee on the bus, dead silent. And I was like, what? It's Stan Lee. But nothing. Okay. But yeah, I really like seeing him there. Now, the rest of this is nitpicks, I think. But, so obscure, I wish we had seen Groot Pool. Groot Pool, I just know, is from the comics, and it would have been funny to see him show up. This one makes a lot more sense. I wish we saw Loki, or at least more characters from it. Like, I could see Mobius or Obi being in it. I forget if it would make sense or not for Miss Minutes to appear. But, you know, I'm surprised that we got so much of the Loki show being involved in this movie without seeing any main characters from Loki in the movie. There's like one character who has like 2 scenes towards the end of it, but that's it. Like, we didn't really get any Loki in the movie. I thought we would. Now this is like where I go into like the main cameos that we got. To me, it doesn't really make sense with how they integrate into the MCU. The most obvious one here is Blade. Blade doesn't make any sense because Wesley Snipes is not playing Blade in the next Blade movie, unless they recast and probably reshoot. This is also something that's already gotten like massively popular online. Like, he had the line in the movie, like, only ever gonna be one Blade. And then, like, that became, like, massively popular. And Wesley Snipes saw that and, like, responded with, like, oh, you're crazy, or something like that. Or, like, he didn't deny anything. But we just don't know what's going to happen with that. I hope that Wesley Snipes continues to be Blade and that they just recast, but I don't know. Also, mutants don't really make sense to show up here because we already saw them in the Marvels. Except I'm forgiving X-23 on this because X-23 is awesome. That's it. I don't care. Now, Gambit, when I was watching the movie, like, it felt like an odd choice that didn't belong, but then, like, I found out the story behind it, so now I kind of appreciate it more. This being said, if I had to make the main cameo roster, knowing what I know now, and as it pertains to the MCU, I would have wanted to see Blade, assuming that it's Wesley Snipes, in the future. X-23, Gambit, Ghost Rider, and Quicksilver, played by Evan Peters. And to me, this makes a lot of sense, especially with Quicksilver Evan Peters, because, like, he got completely messed up in the MCU. And, you know, I don't like that we had Ralph Boner. Yeah, they could have easily have handled that better. And having, like, oh, the actual version of him was in the void the entire time. Yeah, I'd be fine with that. And then, like, Void Quicksilver becomes actual MCU Quicksilver. Yeah. I think everyone would want that to have worked out. Now maybe he'll exist within the Marvels dimension. Anything can happen there, but it would have worked here too. Okay, but that roster assumed that Wesley Snipes is Blade, so if he's not playing Blade in the future, then replace that slot with Cyclops, because there could be some interesting dialogue between him and Wolverine. That's it. Now, all of that was assuming, like, hey, this stuff has to pertain to the MCU. But what if it didn't? Like, what if, you know, they dropped that logic entirely? And we're like, hey, what if we're gonna have this movie with a bunch of cameos in the Void, and we never mention this Void place ever again? Oh, they could have done anything. Like, they could have gotten Iron Man. We could have had actual Robert Downey Jr. appear again as Iron Man, because it would then be, alright, shows up for this and we never see him again. Like, the ability to have that and not use that, I feel like, was a bit of a letdown. For this, I also have, like, we could have seen any Spider-Man for a Spider-Verse reference. We could have had Andrew Garfield. I do have on here, like, as a different version of Spider-Man, solely so that there can be a joke where Deadpool wants to kiss him as a reference to the Oscars. Or maybe it is actually Andrew Garfield Spider-Man, but I don't know. The one on here that's probably gonna get like the most amount of hate for me saying this is we could have gotten Wastelander Magneto. But I think this would be solely just to make fun of him. Like, he shows up, Deadpool goes, "It's that guy from Fortnite!" And then, you know, eventually he just dies a horrible death, like the Human Torch. So the whole point is for him to be made fun of. I'd be fine with that. Also, it would kind of make a lot of sense because I was wondering in Fortnite why we were getting Wastelander Magneto. And I was like, are we getting a comic accurate version? And eventually they did give it to us, but like it looked weird, and it kind of does fit into the void. Then I added a Black Panther, but with no dialogue. I don't know, that would have been cool. That would have like resolved like what happened in the MCU with him. We could have had like Deadpool go Wakanda forever, and try to be respectful. I use the word try, maybe not very. Okay, yeah, maybe not that one, but there was literally endless potential if it didn't matter to the MCU. Those are my thoughts on the cameo stuff. Overall, I really enjoyed this movie. That's it. Thank you for watching. Bye.